Hey guys, it's Bub here, and today we're going to be Hackintoshing a computer I got for free. For those of you who are unaware, a Hackintosh is the way of installing macOS, which usually is only installable on real Apple computers onto a typical PC like a Dell, HP, or a custom-built computer. Before attempting this, make sure that your computer is Hackintosh compatible, as there are some motherboards and processors that are not compatible with macOS. The computer we'll be using for this Hackintosh project is a Dell Inspiron 3268, which I got for free. However, I believe they're going for around $150 to $200 on eBay. This Dell Inspiron has a dual-core 7th generation Intel Core i3 with 4GB of RAM in a single-channel mode, and we're going to be installing an 80GB WD hard drive, not a solid-state drive. And since this computer doesn't have a dedicated GPU, we have to use the integrated GPU, which is an Intel HD 630. For this project, I'll be using Niresh Distribution instead of a regular vanilla Hackintosh install. And you may be wondering, well, using Niresh could come with some kind of virus. And while this could be true, I've had luck with Niresh in the past, and it always works pretty much on the first boot. Versus vanilla, you have to mess around a lot and get all your settings configured. For this project, which I'll probably wipe the drive anyway after we're done, a Niresh distribution is fine. But if you're creating a Hackintosh for day-to-day use that you're going to be logging into stuff on, I highly recommend attempting a vanilla install before resorting to something like Niresh, as you never know what they put in it. Now, the first thing we're going to have to do to start this process is use Transmac to flash a Niresh Mojave DMG onto our USB. I'm using Niresh instead of vanilla because I've had good experience with Niresh before. Once the USB has been created, we can boot into the BIOS on our Dell Inspiron 3268, disable the Windows Boot Manager, and make sure that the UEFI SanDisk disk is at the very top of the list. We can also go through and check things like SATA operation and secure boot are disabled and set to AHCI, so it's the most compatible with Macintosh. We can apply these settings, and here we are. We are in the Niresh USB that we created. This is the Clover bootloader, except it just has a different theme. We can check the boot arguments that were automatically put in by Niresh. We can make sure that they all work and that verbose is there. It's the very first boot argument. We can then return and boot the USB. Because one of the boot flags was -V, which means verbose, instead of having the Apple logo with the loading bar at the bottom, we get text. So it's easier to see what happens when a kernel panic. Instead of just freezing on the bar, we can then see the kernel panic. However, in this instance, we booted into the USB first try. This is amazing. At this point, I didn't have a hard drive installed in the computer because I wanted to make sure that I could boot into the Macintosh USB before I installed a hard drive. But as you can see here, everything seems to work. My keyboard and mouse work, and it is acting basically like a normal macOS installer. So let's get that hard drive installed. For this, I'll be using a WD drive that is 80GB. I know it's not the best, and I highly recommend using an SSD for a Hackintosh, but it's all I had. So after we move the back connector, we can plug in the SATA and the power connectors to the hard drive, and then we just set it on top of the power supply. I didn't install it because the hard drive that's currently installed is A, very slow, B, a 3.5-inch drive, and C, I didn't want to wipe it because it has all my files on it. Now that we can boot back into the USB, we can then click Continue, Agree, and then we can go to Utilities, Disk Utility. From here, we can format our disk as APFS, but as you can see, the 80GB drive is only showing up at 59.6GB. So, if we show all devices, click on the actual drive, we can see a 20GB partition that is red. So we can click Erase, make sure that it's on GUID partition map because otherwise it won't install, and then we can select APFS since this is what Mojave supports. And then, once the drive is finished being formatted, we can exit out of that, click on the drive that we want to install to, customize our installation, and then continue. And as you could imagine, things didn't go that smooth. We got a package error. So on the actual Niresh install guide, if you read it, which I didn't, you had to go into Terminal and set the date back to September 2018, because after December 2018, the Niresh Mojave installer no longer works. So now that we're in a terminal window, we can type date and a certain code that was on the Niresh installer, and once we click enter, the computer's date will be set back to September. Once we do that, we can quit the terminal, and then we can go straight back into installing macOS Mojave. We can do that, click on our install disk, and then install it. After about 17 minutes of installing, we are now in the macOS Mojave setup, which is basically identical to the setup you get when you power on a Mac for the first time. we can select my computer does not connect to the internet because for some reason it's not detecting my Ethernet just yet, and we can continue to go through this like it's a new Mac, agreeing to the license terms and blah blah blah. So here we are. We're ready to see our desktop for the very first time. And here it is. This is the macOS Mojave desktop. Granted, graphics acceleration is not enabled. As we can see, the dock and the top bar are white instead of transparent like they would be on a real Mac. This is due to the fact that graphics acceleration has not been enabled yet, which is something we will also enable later. However, as we can see right now, this is macOS 10.14 running on the Dell Inspiron 3280. Everything works except graphics acceleration and sound. However, when trying to fix these things, I was brought to this error. It would stop here and it would never go anywhere. The hard drive activity light would just go out. So instead of messing around with this, I had came up with another plan and was smart when I was downloading the Niresh distros. I also downloaded a Catalina DMG. I didn't want to use Catalina because that's what I'm currently running on my main Mac, but I figured it would be better to have a new version on the Hackintosh project. So I selected the Catalina DMG and prepared our USB. When I tried to boot macOS Catalina with the default boot tags off the USB, I got a kernel panic as shown here. And obviously, kernel panics will not allow us to boot into the installer. So I went into the Clover bootloader, which has the Hackintosh theme, went to the boot arguments and saw that there were not nearly as many as there were on the previous Mojave version. So I took a picture of the ones on the Mojave USB, inputted them here, and then went down and restarted the computer. And, believe it or not, this actually solved our problem. We were able to boot into the installer. At this point in time, I had no idea what was preventing the computer from turning on without these boot flags, but I figured this out later. But as we can see, Niresh Catalina were booted onto the USB. We can now format our drive after again going to View, Show All Disks, and selecting the main disk. Format this as APFS under GUID partition table. After that has been completed, we can select our freshly formatted disk and then continue. Even though it says 2 minutes remaining here, this is actually different from the Mojave installer. It copies all the files over to the disk, restarts, and then it installs off of the hard drive, which I thought was a little weird, but it works. Once Catalina was fully installed and we were done with the setup, we can now see setting up your Mac. This was very slow and I thought it was very weird. But this is the first thing we saw after setting up our computer. Not a good thing to start off with, but after that, everything slowly loaded in, but again with no graphics acceleration. I did all of the configuration off camera for this project, however I will be going over it now. But here we can see our first boot with graphics acceleration enabled and everything fully working on our macOS Catalina machine. As you can see, the bottom bar is transparent, the top bar is transparent, everything is working. And you may be asking, well, how does this actually run? Besides the slow speeds of the internal hard drive, I would say it runs pretty well. Things like the animations are actually very comparable to my real 2015 MacBook Pro, and everything like the launchpad here runs very well. I'm actually surprised how well this operating system runs on this machine compared to something like a Windows Insider build. The first thing we'll be taking a look at are the kexts that I used. I used Apple ALC, Lilu, USB Inject All, Virtual SMC, as well as Whatever Green. These 5 kexts allow the computer to boot and function very well. Now we can take a look at config.plist and Clover Configurator. I won't be going over this in detail, but I will be taking a look through each section, so if you have a very similar configuration, you can take a look at my settings and kind of adapt to your machine. So let's take a look at the ACPI here. Here, this is the most configuration changes here with all these different changes. The rest of them, like here, we don't need the debug boot flag, I just have that there to see if kernel panics occur. But other than that, that's really everything in config.plist. I did have to change the SM BIOS to iMac 18,1 to get this graphics acceleration to fully work. After I got graphics acceleration to work, I had to use patch EDID master to create this folder, which I had to move somewhere on the EFI partition because my entire screen turned purple. After I moved this into the EFI partition, my screen was no longer purple. Now, setting up a Hackintosh is fun and all, but how does it actually perform, and is something like this practical? Well, actually, it runs very well. besides the slow hard drive, which can easily be fixed by installing a Samsung SSD, which I highly recommend, but I didn't have one lying around. Other than that, and my internet connection on this screen recording, I am sorry about that, everything runs, including Safari, and as you can see here, we're scrolling through the Microsoft.com page, and everything works. 1080p video playback runs very well on this machine, however I didn't showcase that here, and if you wanted to download something from the Mac App Store, you can. You'd have to sign in with your Apple ID, which I didn't. However, you can download everything on the Mac App Store and everything just works. I didn't try FaceTime and iMessage because, as I said, I didn't sign in with my Apple ID. However, I would assume these don't work as they usually take some more tinkering to configure, but I don't think that would be too hard to set up. But other than that, like I said, this UI is very fluent. Most of the built-in Apple apps work by default. And if you have a Dell Inspiron 3268 or a compatible Hackintosh computer, I highly recommend doing this, as this runs much better than Windows 10 ever did on this machine. Now, according to the Final Cut Pro 10's minimum specifications, we can run Final Cut on this machine. So I downloaded the free trial because I didn't want to install it from a app store, as I didn't want to sign in. I plugged in the USB with footage from this video, and we are going to be editing some footage from this. Now, this is going to be a very short 1-minute video that we're going to edit here. We're just going to drag in some random clips and edit, cut it together, add some animations. But based on what I've seen here, everything should work well. Now, this is a 2-minute clip of me editing that I've sped up to 2000% the speed. However, everything actually ran well, and when it came time to render, everything actually worked, which I think this rendered quicker than it does on my MacBook Pro, but that's because this is a 720p video, and it is a 1-minute and 43-second video instead of what I typically render on my machine. But really, I was very impressed with how this computer edited. Albeit it's 720p 30 frames per second video, while I usually edit 1080p 60 FPS video on my MacBook Pro. For being a dual-core processor with 4GB of RAM, I experienced no lag while editing, no lag while rendering, and my computer didn't get loud when I was editing or rendering like my MacBook Pro does due to its horrible cooling solution. And here is the final product. As we can see in QuickTime, even scrubbing through the rendered video is very smooth without dedicated graphics and a dual-core processor. So I would say that you can actually edit video on this machine. And considering this is around a $150 to $200 computer, which I got for free, that's pretty incredible. Anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new around here. I do all kinds of different tech videos and device restorations. I know Niresh distributions are frowned upon by the Hackintosh community. However, as I said, I've had extremely good luck with them in the past, and I personally trust them. However, if you are doing a project like this, but you're going to be logging into stuff and using it every day, please try vanilla before using Niresh. I will not be using this Hackintosh every day. In fact, I will probably wipe the drive as soon as I upload this video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As I said, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.